Welcome to the GI Nutrition Show. I'm Amy McCrea, CEO of Grounded Root Nutrition. Today's topic is all about folate and what exactly are these sources of folate. So last week we talked about the MTHFR gene and the variations that really alter our need for folate. And this week we're going to continue this conversation with a focus on food. So the best place to fill your nutrient buckets are definitely from naturally occurring sources. So food is our friend. We can get so many nutrients from whole foods that haven't been processed at all. So let's start with some of these sources that we can find folate. So organ meats are incredible. So that can be a beef liver or a chicken liver are the two that come to mind. And the beauty of liver is that you can actually cook it into dishes such as like a taco meat or a spaghetti sauce, and nobody's even going to know that you added a little bit of this organ meat and you boosted their folate levels. So get clever with some of these foods. Then your dark leafy greens, think spinach and mustard greens. There's also chard. Any of those dark ones are going to definitely boost your folate levels. And a fun fact with chard, Swiss chard is actually a cross between spinach and beets. And so if you want beets are another great source of folate. Consider using the leaves as well. So that color in the leaves, it's kind of got a nice red vein to it, and Swiss chard does as well. So that's how you kind of know that chard is sort of a hybrid of a beet, if you will. But that's exactly what Swiss chard is, and it's another great source of folate for you. So if you buy beets, try to buy them with both the root or the bulb as well as the leaves and use the whole thing. It all contains fantastic levels of folate as well as B12, which is a great source for you as well. And as we talked about last time, not only do we need folate, but we need all of these other micronutrients too. So don't hesitate to double dip with all of these foods into your nutrient buckets. Let's see, another great source of folate is going to be asparagus. We can do black-eyed peas, and some people might know those as cow peas. Citrus fruits, with oranges being the most common one associated with folate consumption. So if you find yourself craving oranges, there's probably a lot more that you might be craving, but let yourself eat it and then even enjoy some of the zest. So the zest has a lot of oils and diamine. It's got really great nutrients for you, so use all of it. We talked about beets, Brussels sprouts, another one on the list, chickpeas and lentils, black beans, soybeans and edamame, which people think of edamame and you think, oh, I need to go to a restaurant or it's already in the pod. It's going to be complicated. It doesn't have to be. Nowadays, you can actually go to the freezer section and they often sell bags of already shelled edamame that you can just warm in the microwave or on your stovetop and save some in the fridge. You can pop them on salads. You can even puree them into sauces to boost that folate level. Let's see, peanuts, sunflower seeds, and quinoa, some other great sources of folate. So if you do a quick Google search for foods high in folate, you will come up with ample ideas, not only in food categories, but there's lists and websites. There's tons of different ways that you can get this information. So the ones that I just listed are really sort of the highest level of folate consumption, and you're going to get the most bang for your buck with these foods. So I would encourage you to add these into your routine, whether they're on a daily basis, every other day, or at a minimum every third day. Consuming those would be really, really good. But what about these foods that are already fortified with folic acid? And these foods are going to be enriched bread, enriched flour, enriched cornmeal, enriched pasta, enriched rice, fortified breakfast cereals like Raisin Bran or Bran Flakes, and even fortified corn masa flour, which is used to make tamales and tortillas. So as I read these foods, did you notice a pattern? Yeah, they all either started with enriched or fortified. So if you're reading an ingredient list and you see the words enriched or fortified in front of the grain base, you want to think that folate has been added to those foods. And the type of folate that's usually added to these foods is just folic acid. It's not necessarily L-methylfolate, which L-methylfolate is the bioavailable form of folate. And the beauty of consuming all the other foods that I listed, so your organ meats, your dark leafy greens, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, black-eyed peas, chickpeas, beets, all of those, is that you're already getting a form of folate that your body can use when you're consuming those foods. So I highly recommend them. But now you might be wondering, how much folate do you actually need on a daily basis? And it depends is the answer. And it really depends on your gender and what stage of life you're in. So when it comes to women, if you're already pregnant, you need 600 micrograms a day. If you are now breastfeeding, you need 500 micrograms a day. If you are considering becoming pregnant, that's when I would recommend going ahead and increasing your folic acid intake, making sure you're getting a minimum of 400 micrograms a day. And we talked a little bit about this before, but the reason why we need this advanced planning with folic acid is because neural tube development occurs in the first 4 weeks of a fetus's life. And oftentimes women don't even know they're pregnant in those first 4 weeks. So it's really, really important to have folic acid on board before conception even happens. The rest of us just need 400 micrograms a day, and this is from ages 14 and up. The requirements for pediatric are a little bit different, and I'm not going to dive deep into that since I typically focus on adult nutrition in my practice as well. So now that you know how much folate you need, and it's in a microgram form, I want you to think about microdosing. So, when I mentioned utilizing edamame and pureeing it into a sauce, or putting a little bit of liver into taco meat or into a spaghetti sauce, it's really small doses that go a really, really long way when it comes to folate. And additionally, all of these come with extra nutrients. So we're going to fill those cofactor buckets as well when we focus on these whole foods as opposed to the enriched ones to get our folate. So we talked a little bit about 400 micrograms being the kind of gold standard for how much adults and teens need on a daily basis. There are a couple different conditions, though, that do require additional levels of folate because they are more prone to becoming folate deficient. The first is you have any type of malabsorption syndrome. This is going to include those with celiac disease, especially a newer diagnosis when their gut hasn't recovered and all of the villi in the small intestines, which are responsible for absorbing nutrients, are missing. So super important for them, as well as in irritable bowel disease. If you have those MTHFR variations, we are going to need to make an assessment to determine if you need more. And also, if you have any type of alcohol use disorder, you're going to require higher levels of folate. So the question then becomes, what form and what sources are best for you? And as I mentioned before, there are so many factors that drive that question because it's more than just one gene in the MTHFR gene. But without doing any type of testing, I can't tell you which sources and how much folate you need because I don't know what your situation is. And the other thing we have to remember with genes is that just because you have the gene doesn't mean you're expressing the gene. So if you only have one copy of MTHFR, you might not notice anything. Whereas if you have 4 copies of the gene, you probably are going to notice what's going on because you don't have a single one that's functioning in its optimal state. So if you would like some additional guidance on what foods to eat and how to help heal your gut, I would love to connect. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Please visit my website, groundedrootnutrition.com, to learn more about how I can become a partner in your health journey. On there, you can schedule a free GI health strategy session for us to meet and connect. You can also contact me directly at hello@groundedrootnutrition.com. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon.